Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with some more IL-2 Sturmovik. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the recent patch, the patch notes for update 4.604. Now, in this patch, they released an updated SPAD. For me, that's the most important thing. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other things that are included in this patch that you might find interesting. And then we'll also talk about the dev blog that was just released. Okay, so we got the new SPAD 7, the C1 with the 180 horsepower engine. The previous one, the one I did a video on, had 150 horsepower. So I look forward to jumping into this SPAD, flying it around, and giving it a first look as well. So we'll look for that video. That'll be coming out very soon. Also, they made some changes to the Modus 50 cal rounds, the Browning machine gun. Right, it's the 50 cal machine guns. They improved the graphic effects, damage model of the airframe, and pilot from collisions. Okay. The pilot's psychological model has undergone a new revision as well. And yeah, you would think that you have total control over yourself psychologically while flying in a game, but no, the game actually imposes certain restrictions on your control of the aircraft based on various psychological input, like getting wounded or having flown for such a long distance, lack of oxygen, G-stresses. All these things affect you. And some AI objects developed as part of the Battle of Normandy have been introduced into the project. Okay, now if you look at these photos here, this is the new SPAD, which isn't going to, the model is not going to look much different, but they did do an improved cockpit for the 180 horsepower SPAD. Also, let's take a look here. This would be the 50 cal striking the plane and how it small caliber hit effects. I guess what they're saying is that's anywhere from the 30 cal to the 50 cal, I would think. And they're also talking about how they improved what the tracers do, how they look from the side. They changed the size of the actual tracer rounds for machine guns and for cannons, and their weight they've changed. But kind of importantly, they changed the smoke trail. They basically reduced it a little bit because I guess it was too pronounced in the past. Now this is an example of the new crash effects, the ground collision effects. We're going to take this step by step. Like this is a plane coming in, and then look at that. That's pretty nice looking, actually. What I've noticed is that in the past, the planes would strike the ground, and then a few beats later, the plane would explode, and there would be a distinct period in which you would see the plane on the ground before the explosion. And I think that's, hopefully that gets fixed in this batch. That's interesting. The back of a Tiger 1. That looks really cool. I love the rust effect. Oh my gosh, that looks good. And then I guess what we're looking at is the exhaust effect of a Panther, and we were just looking at the exhaust effect of a Tiger. The pink glow, is that accurate? I mean, maybe it is. Maybe diesel burns like that. I don't know. A new tank hot gas effect. I guess that's this. Interesting. Yeah, hot gases. And I guess this is part of the AI controlled assets landing craft infantry, LCI. Okay. It looks pretty good. I'm excited about it. Okay, so let's actually go over, other than just the pictures, let's look at the main features. Late SPAD modifications, 180 horsepower engine is available. The LCI and the LCI large, okay, developed for Battle Normandy, has been added to the sim. No visible crew yet. Nationality of player's aircraft in a quick mission now depends on which paint scheme was selected. Okay. SPAD 7 instruments improved by Oyster. Several additional textures in also the 109, the D15, the D28, and the 88A4. And then this talks about the two sides of tracers for machine guns and cannons. Smoke traces have become less dense. Graphic effect of armor piercing rounds hitting aircraft were reworked. U.S. armor piercing 50 cal bullets. Mass and ballistics corrected to 864 meters per second. All these guns here installed on aircraft, including turret weapons, have their dispersion corrected accordingly. Instead of it being a shotgun, it's more of a rifle. Okay. Inadequate dispersion of turreted machine guns on flying circus aircraft were adjusted. Okay. Now, aircraft model changes, or aircraft damage model changes. Improved damage model, tangentially ground impacts at high speed are more likely to cause an explosion. Impacts at medium speed cause more damage to the aircraft, and fuel tanks are more likely to catch fire. Okay, so basically they adjusted at what point the collision with the ground might cause an explosion. The excessive likelihood of control wiring damage on flying circus aircraft has been corrected. That implies that they've lowered the chance that your wiring will get damaged. Okay, if control wiring is damaged on these aircraft, the rudders will dangle, okay, along the airstring. And then other aircraft will be updated in the next update. Pilot psychological model. We talked about this a little bit. Impact excessive overload injury models have been adjusted. Collisions with the ground have become more traumatic. The accumulation of pilot fatigue from overload during long maneuvers has been reduced. This will allow for somewhat longer aerobatics in combat maneuver. Okay, that I approve of that. Because I always thought that your pilot became less and less effective too quickly. And throughout the year, they received feedback from experienced pilots and became generally clear that fatigue is somewhat overestimated. Okay, that was corrected. Good. Thank you, pilots. Pilot backrest angle was adjusted on these planes. Because in a previous patch, they updated the amount of G-forces that a pilot will receive based on the angle of their backrest. And so now they need to adjust the backrest to accommodate for those G-force tolerances. Now, the D-22 pilot no longer has G-suit due to the time frame. Okay. The maximum value of overload is displayed on the instrument panel has been expanded. Okay. Changes to graphics. Twin white stripes at the distance near the coastline on maps have been removed. White dots along the edge of the sight reflector has been removed. Ship reflections jumping when looking at the shore. Okay. The delay between high-speed ground impact of the aircraft and the resulting explosion has been minimized. Oh, I just spoke of that. Okay. This is the first time me reading this, by the way. Graphic effects of the aircraft falling and exploding when hitting the ground or water suffering an air collision were improved. A fire now burns for a while at the crash site. Shadows rendering on the tank hulls while quickly turning in first person were corrected. Turrets and gun barrel shadows were corrected. No holes in the shadows. The DH4 detailed cockpit model correctly shows all camera positions inside of it. Okay, good. A strong stuttering near Mill Airfield on the Rhineland map has been fixed. Okay, I haven't been near the Mill Airfield. Okay, changes to aircraft. Restored cloud cover. AI fighter pilots. Target obscuring for AI pilots. Okay, so AI can't just see through clouds. That's good. AI fighter pilots shouldn't fire at a target if there is an allied aircraft in line, so they don't shoot each other down. AI pilots will correctly attack a locomotive instead of the last car. Cockpit won't sometimes open at the end of the mission and gunners bailing out. Okay. Crews will bail out slightly faster from multi-crew aircraft. Pilots and gunners that were killed while leaving the plane will have correct poses. Basically, they'll be dead. Fixed roll trimming with the Mark 1. Reduced the Typhoon airframe resistance to aerodynamic loads. Basically, destructive overload decreased. Typhoon constant tail loss on ditching fixed. C-47 can carry British paratroopers now. That's good. Added a paragraph about automatic dive operations. Okay. The guest player occupying the position of the lower gunner will correctly see the collimator. Okay, because it must have been a problem in the past. A lot of things on the Airco DH4. Mixed up graphic animation of the fuel leaks, a graphical artifact in the gunner's cockpit, an issue where damaged landing gear disappear at a distance. Fix the instrument glass, won't be visible through the rear cockpit windshield, and bomb racks won't visibly disappear at a distance when there are no bombs. Okay. Now in the older SPAD 7, the 150 horsepower, broken glare issue won't happen at medium detail. The installed Lewis over the wing will cause drag, and the excessive battling amplitude has been reduced. The excessive batting amplitude. Okay, I'm kind of thinking that means the wings were vibrating. Okay, P-39 prototype paint scheme no longer has the insignia. Okay, all Spitfires and excessive haze on the windshield corrected. Glass, okay. Both the Yak 9's cockpit glass won't visible at a distance. Okay. Controlled tanks and trucks. New flame effects. New powder gases inside. The shading from the sun. Wound effects correctly function on all commander viewports and visors. Hatches won't sometimes open by themselves. The crew leaving sequence of player-controlled tanks and anti-aircraft guns were improved. The voiceover of ammunition type in the commander's commands to suppress, point, and attack target when selected subcaliber rounds, okay, were restored. I guess they were wanted back. Single shots of the 50 and 34 on player-controlled tanks won't create multiple shots. AI drivers, controlled tanks will correctly close the visor. Player-controlled KV-1s and 152s have an additional paint scheme based on history. Okay. Oh, compatible with the custom tactical numbers. Okay, so it leaves spots for you to put your numbers. It's now possible to fold the armored glass. Panzer III, Panzer IV drivers' front and side armor flap opening controls are now separate. Okay, the gas driver side window and windshield flap controls are now separate. I haven't done a whole lot of ground stuff. I've done a little bit in the Panzer III, actually. Okay, reflections of the windows are improved. The 10-5 visor scenarios were updated. Now includes searchlights. The missing voiceover of the commander's orders to fire machine guns on target and suppressing fire were restored. And finally, all Steel Bird's campaign scenarios were optimized for better performance. Okay, to me, that's a pretty big patch. I'm still waiting for the Normandy expansion. They're working on it. I'm also waiting for the Flying Circus 2 expansion, which I know the Normandy is going to come out first, but I'm really excited for both of those expansions. When they come out, you probably will see me playing every night, and I'll be uploading videos. All right, so let me jump over to the dev blog. All right, this is the dev blog. It's pretty short and sweet. This is 294. Basically, they're talking about the clouds. Basically, this whole thing is about the cloud tech that they're working on and how beautiful it is. That looks pretty nice. The new clouds, and when you're up in the clouds, look at that, double layer clouds. What do they call that? Cumulus clouds and rain clouds, it looks like. Giving you the cloud reflections with the sunlight. That's pretty cool. The shadows from the clouds on the ground. I'm not clicking on every one of them. Light coming through the clouds on rain clouds. Oh, looks like got some low fog as well. Yeah, this is a work in progress. This is not complete. This is not in the game. This is let's see what it says. Work in progress. We'll work to get these to you as soon as we can. A technology is being perfected as we speak. We will begin work on making the new clouds content shortly. They will go into testing with the release hopefully in a few months. So probably for the new year, we'll have new clouds. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out and watching this patch note dev blog video, and I will catch you in the next video.